Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome. This is the Silicon Labs Technology Show, and I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, these are not the dulcet tones that I've come to love and recognize as Kyle. It's not even Isaac, who we hear from every now and then in shows talking about isolation or timing. And what's with that weird accent? Well, folks, what you're witnessing is a true podcast hijack. It's not even a staged hijack that's going to kick off conversations about security or PSA Level 3 award-winning Secure Vault technology. Nope, this is a true podcast hijack where I've taken controls of the show and your usual star lineup is sat here with me, quivering in his boots. Today, we've hijacked the show to put Kyle on the other side of the microphone lens, to give you the chance to learn who is the real Kyle. Kyle, tell me what you're up to. How are you feeling? Let's get this show on the road.
Well, I have to admit, I'm a little nervous having you in charge, but I'm sure we'll get through this together.
Well, let's try and put you in a comfortable place before we get started. Tell me what you did this weekend.
Yeah. I actually, I have a Jeep, and I took my family and we went four-wheeling. So went rock crawling, and we had a great time. It's always good to get outside in Texas and spend time with the family.
How far do you have to go to do that?
This place was Mason, Texas. It was Wolf Caves. It's about an hour and a half away.
Oh, it's still a drive then, but it does sound fun.
Yeah, it was terrific.
Well, good. I'm glad you enjoyed yourself. Anyway, let's get this show started. So we normally have you sat where I'm sat, and most people know of you as the podcast guy. But I, as along with everybody else on the team, in the company, we all know that we rely on you a lot more than that. So tell us a little bit about what you get up to when you're not interviewing the product managers or the customers, and you're not doing these podcasts.
Well, I definitely appreciate and enjoy talking to all our guests, Nick, and I love learning about new technology and the trends that we're seeing. But you're right, it's not my normal job. Surprise as it might be to many people, my official job at Silicon Labs is global sales and enablement. What that means in layman's terms is I'm basically responsible for training different people on Silicon Labs solutions. So you might ask, Kyle, training is pretty broad topic, but the way I explain it to people that I run into is I have three very recognizable things that I do for Silicon Labs. My team puts together customer workshops. We put together webinars where customers can learn about our products. And most recently, we are taking a big task of putting together the training portal for customers. As an engineer, I got an engineering degree, and I think the best way that I've applied my engineering is I work with my team to really understand the nuts and bolts of all of our different products at that engineering level, and then work to figure out what's the best way to help customers understand those concepts and how to use those solutions in their next products. And so that's really what I think of as enablement, is enabling our customers through those workshops or webinars or the content they'll find on the training portal to get to design quicker.
So you mentioned the training portal, and that's kind of interesting because many of our listeners will be seeing the changes that are happening to our website due to the efforts of our awesome web team. But the training portal itself, you're specifically responsible for that. So what actually are you doing there?
Yeah, so the training portal, great question, Nick. What we've found over the last several years is we have a lot of great content, but it was in different places. It was hard to locate. We'd call it different things. And so when a customer would come to our website and they were looking to learn about something, it was difficult for them to find all of the content or consistency between the different content. So what we did is we invested to make it a lot quicker for them to find the content, make sure that the content was refreshed and current, and allow them to just do self-service. They don't need to reach out. They can find it themselves.
Okay. Where does that content come from?
Well, so what we've done over the last 3 years, really, I've noticed we've been doing this great training internally. And we train our sales team, we'll train our engineers that support customers. And a lot of that content was not making it onto the web. And so we talked internally and we said, from now on, anything that we do to train ourselves to help customers absolutely has to end up on the web portal, on the training portal. So that's what we've done. We've taken that training and we've put it onto the website in that very organized structure. And now customers can get it very easily.
So there were a couple of things you highlighted there, and I'm going to touch on both of the ones I think are quite interesting. But the first one I think is quite interesting to the managerial types out there. You were saying it will help them get going faster. So how exactly will it help them do that?
So the way that we look at getting customers to design faster is really, we have a few tiers of content. The first is just, education on concepts and the technologies that are involved in a topic. And that often is all over the place. So we have it in one place so they can get up on one topic. But what we've done now is we're adding extra, guided labs to where a customer can say, okay, I understand the concepts of open thread, but how do I get started using your evaluation kit? Well, now with the changes and the new content we're putting into the training portal, somebody can go on our website and go to an open thread training, get that initial concepts, but then they can go all the way through using an evaluation board, starting a design, and getting started quickly. And we have not just open thread, we have chip, we have Z-Wave, we have Bluetooth labs. So we're adding those, get quick exercises for the customers to get started quickly.
Okay, you also mentioned we already have a lot of content and the portal will help surface a lot of that stuff. But what about new content? How will this help with new changes in standards? Is the portal well resourced to ensure the company maintains its thought leadership position, its position in training, its leadership in a customer first attitude? What are your thoughts on those kind of concepts towards the training portal?
Yeah, we meet regularly. We meet on a monthly basis, and we are looking at all of the like the Bluetooth SIG releases, our own SDK development. As we have new releases for a specific protocol, that team that I work with, we identify that we need that training, and so we have a pretty quick turnaround to where it doesn't take more than 2 or 3 months for us to have all of these newly released protocol standards and applications for those protocols into a training exercise for a customer to review. So it's been a lot of work, but we're getting to the point now, like I said, that we'll have a review, we'll identify some new things that have been released, and then we'll work with the business unit to prepare that training and then get it onto the portal.
So, in summary, I'm hearing you're surfacing a lot more material, you're making it quicker and easier for customers to get going and get their project or product to market quicker. You're putting a lot more new material out there, which is keeping the material fresh and the course material more relevant. But there is one more thing that you said that would concern me, and that was that you said self-serve. Does that mean the company is investing less on one-on-one direct support and more self-serve, go find it yourself kind of approaches?
No, it's quite the opposite. So, and I think a lot of people realize this, the way people are consuming content now, it starts with the web. And it's not only for our customers, but even for our own team. It's very helpful to have it very organized so that when our team is communicating with customers, they can directly point them to an organized training on our website. That way they don't need to organize a separate meeting to run through slides or run through a lab. If they can direct the customer to go to a very well formatted and something that's very structured for them to do on their own time. So I think it's providing more organization for our own sales team and our own support team to support customers. We're also doing a lot just to help our field engineers support customers. We're providing them with new interactive tools to where they can do, screen sharing and work with customers on their code development. We're working on ways that they can, easily schedule meetings with their customers, because we know that as much as the web is where people start, it's when you get into those places where you get stuck that you need to communicate with people. And that one-on-one interaction is the only way to go. So we're working on ways to help our field organize content for customers to consume, but then we're also working on ways to get ways and tools for our field support team to help customers even more efficiently.
What about if I was a customer that felt I was a beginner in a given technology, or even I knew most things about a given topic? What are you doing to help me find the content relevant to my skill level? What are you doing, if anything, in the portal to address that kind of concern?
Yeah, so what we've done recently is we have taken the content and put tags on it to indicate if it's a beginner, intermediate, and advanced. So at the very least, a customer could come in and, as you mentioned, uh, with their own understanding of their content level or knowledge level, they can pick the content accordingly. However, if they take a course and they find that it's above or below where they're at, they can then find a course that's indicated less or at a higher level.
Is it also then therefore progressive? In other words, could I come in at a beginner stage and follow the courses up through to the advanced levels? In other words, bringing myself up through a complete training course, if you will.
Yeah, so I guess I'll step back and I'll say that, yeah, the training portals added curriculums. And so when a customer comes in, they will search for a key topic. And if they throw in Bluetooth, they will find 4 curriculums. And those curriculums may have 3 or 4 components that will address different topics that they can follow through, but they are all in a progressive or in a sequential manner to where they can take 3 or 4 courses in a row, and then they know the natural next courses to take would be in this curriculum, and they can take those in succession. So the curriculums help organize the content. So you're not just dropped into, like I like to refer to it as the a la carte. When you go to the casino and you're in that full buffet and you don't know where to start, that's pretty difficult and it can be overwhelming when you're looking at training content. So I look at the curriculums as, we prepare everything, we put it in an order to where you know how to consume it in the order that's intended.
Okay, and I think you already answered this, but I just wanted to hopefully have you expand on it a little more. You mentioned that we are not doing away with other forms of support. When we were talking about self serve, when we were talking about direct one on one support. But what I wanted you to hopefully expand on was what other areas of support does Silicon Labs offer to its customers?
Oh, I started off talking about the workshops, and that's my true passion. It's what I've done for the last 20 years. I believe that the content we're putting together for our workshops really help customers uh, tackle unique topics and challenges that we have identified as the most common occurrences at customers. And so workshops give the opportunity for the customers to listen to those topics, have subject matter experts answer any questions they may have live, and work through exercises together and even share their computers and have real-time support. So I think our workshops are a great example. The other one that got a lot of notoriety last year was we did the Works With conference. And the Works With conference was, at its beginning, was just a way to get more people aware of the Silicon Labs IoT solutions. Ended up far exceeding our goals. We had over 6,000 people sign up, 3,000 people attended. We had courses, Nick, with Chip, with we had Amazon classes with 600 to 700 people going through these exercises. So a real unique way for us to support customers that are interested in training, interested in learning new things. So, having that Works With conference was a great additional thing that we could offer customers for support and training.
That Works With conference was interesting actually because it wasn't necessarily Silicon Labs that was actually offering all the sessions. There were a lot of sponsors and partners and customers involved in that, and a lot of them themselves were actually doing the sessions. Do you have any thoughts on how that worked out for the audience?
Oh, it was great. I'll name drop a few, but Furia, our team and our partners in Atlanta, they did a tremendous job doing 2 classes on gateways and cloud connectivity. We had another partner, Darwin Tech in Southern California, that provided us training on Amazon gadgets with real life examples they did for customers. We had our partner IOXT doing a full session on new security regulations that are impacting customers' demands or designs. So not to mention, I think most people recognize we had Amazon and we had Google teaching full courses. So it was not Silicon Labs speaking to the Amazon development process or the Google chip and the Google development process. We had actual participation from both Google and Amazon to teach their own courses. So it was impressive to see the collaboration that we had with all these different partners to show customers our solutions in action.
I think it's also fair to say that the Works With conference wasn't actually focused on Silicon Labs either, or even its portfolio per se. It was aimed at the industry of IoT. If you recall, Silicon Labs even encouraged participation from what many would consider as their competitors.
Yeah, we had a couple people from NXP and some other competitors that presented and spoke. But the other thing, Nick, is you mentioned we had some sessions where maybe we weren't the primary chip, but we know that it's important for our customers. Our parts will interact with those types of solutions. And so we had a lot of sessions where we talked about other solutions, whether it was a sensor that we did not have or a larger Cortex A type MPU that was required for the design. So we were talking about those things for customers to learn about the full design, not just what Silicon Labs offers.
So would it be fair to say Works With was measured out as a success, and people should keep their ears tuned to the podcast to learn about announcements for similar conferences going forward?
Well, Nick, I'm still employed, so I think it was relatively successful. but yeah, we are in the early stages of planning for the Works With 2021. I'm excited. We have learned from the success that we had last year. There's always rooms and areas for improvement, and we're going to come with a new Works With conference in September. And I think the attendees from last year will love the changes. And I think people that maybe saw the offering that we had last year, if they look this year and they look at the 2021 lineup, they're going to be impressed.
Well, Kyle, that's absolutely great to hear, because as you're aware, I participated in that event last year, and I have to say it was extremely well organized, with a lot of credit going to you and the team, of course, and I'm very much looking forward to see how I can contribute in the upcoming Works With conference. But we have to save that for another Hijack adventure, because I have to say we're coming to the end of our time here in this podcast. And in fact, in time-honored tradition, I'm going to ask you to help me with the usual outro so I can hand the reins of this podcast back over to you one more time.
All right. Well, Nick, I do appreciate you hijacking my normal routine of things. As an engineer, it's difficult, but hopefully our listeners appreciated what you and I discussed today. We know it takes time out of your day to download the Silicon Labs podcast. We appreciate that. We hope to see you on our next podcast. And until then, everyone, please stay safe.